I buy groceries now like I run a small daycare. I mean, there's no sign, there's no schedule, but the cart tells me every time. And that's this little rural grocery store. It's, not charming in a nostalgic way, and it's definitely not big enough to disappear in. I mean, you got the same aisles, the same lights, and the same cashier who already knows I'm not buying all this Dr. Pepper for myself. And I'm standing there, staring at the cooler, kind of doing the mental math. It's not the financial math, but it's kid math. Because one of my kids has a friend over, which means I'm cooking for one more kid. And I don't have some bigger inner moment. I just kind of stand there thinking, all right, I guess that's another plate. And, sometimes I feel annoyed by it, but I also keep reaching for another bottle. Because somewhere underneath the irritation that occasionally happens, I know what's happening, and I just don't always feel holy about it in aisle 4. Hey, welcome to 1 minute later, and I'm glad you're here. So this one does start in a grocery store, but it definitely doesn't stay there. So just stick with me on this one, okay? Back to my very first podcast, this was the topic, and I just kind of wanted to update it a little. When our kids were little, I remember thinking, I hope our house is the house. It's the house where all the friends end up, the one that stays busy. And back then, it felt like a preference, something you hope happens if you're doing things right. And I didn't realize it turns into a responsibility, too. Now, my 13-year-old son, Gavin, told me something once, and he just dropped it into a conversation like it wasn't heavy or anything. And he was talking with one of his friends, heading towards that one kid's house. And before they got there, they could hear it. Yelling. Lots and lots of yelling. That sharp kind of noise that doesn't stay inside the walls of the house. And his friend says, when my parents drink, I just end up hiding somewhere until it's over. And that was it. I mean, there was no drama and no follow-up. It was just something he already knew how to live with. And I remember thinking, how messed up is it that a kid already knows where to hide inside his own house? On the other hand, there was my 8-year-old daughter Piper and a friend she spent a lot of time with over the summer. Sweet kid, always around. But later we found out that the parents aren't at the house very much. And most days, my daughter was over there with her friend and nobody else, just figuring things out. Food, time, how loud it would be. And then my wife of 15 years, Jen, she comes home from her job at a school with a lot of stories that, they don't need much explanation. Kids who know things they shouldn't know. Kids who have learned how to read moods before they ever even learned how to relax. Kids who felt safest when adults are predictable. So standing in a grocery store with entirely too much Dr. Pepper, I get a little irritated. I get tired too, and I wasn't planning on feeding another kid. But I also know what that extra plate means. It means that someone's not eating alone. Nobody's hiding. And the noise in our house is the kind that doesn't make your shoulders tighten. And listen, I'm not saying our house is special or anything. I mean, it's cluttered. It smells weird sometimes, and I step on Legos like it's my calling. But it's steady, and it turns out to matter more than I thought. And we are the house. The ones the friends come to. The house where friends feel safe and they can be themselves and everything. And I look at what's going on in our country now and how children are being brought up in a very confusing world. And I just kind of think to myself, maybe part of the solution is to have more of the house. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I look at the towns we live in across the heartland, and it feels like we could use more houses like that. Places where the kids don't have to guess what kind of night it's going to be. And sometimes it looks like extra Dr. Pepper. Sometimes it looks like pulling up another chair. Sometimes it looks like cooking when you're hoping not to. And I don't always feel noble about it. I just keep doing it. Because somewhere down the street, there's a kid who needs just a few hours where nothing goes sideways. And if that means my grocery bill looks like a small operation, I can live with that. 1 minute later, that's how a neighborhood learns what safe feels like. And thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes. I don't take that lightly. I genuinely appreciate it. And if this episode made you think about a kid or a house or even a street you live on, feel free to pass it along to someone who might need it. Or maybe your house could be the house. I'll catch you next time.